The first time I jumped out of the new Sportage and then climbed right back into a CX-5, it genuinely caught me off guard. Not because one was bad, not because one was broken, but it felt like I just switched between two completely different philosophies about what a car is supposed to be. On paper, they're rivals. Same segment, similar price, same buyers. But the way they go about winning you over couldn't be more different. And here's the weird part. One of them looks like the obvious winner, until you actually live with both. That's what makes the 2025 Kia Sportage versus the 2025 Mazda CX-5 such an interesting matchup. Because this decision isn't really about horsepower or screens or MPG. It's about what still feels good long after the novelty wears off. And once you start looking at it that way, the whole comparison flips. The Sportage makes its intentions clear the second you see it. That front end doesn't whisper, it shouts. Those boomerang-style LED running lights and that massive blacked-out grille dominate the nose in a way that almost feels experimental. It looks like something pulled straight from an auto show concept and dropped onto the street with minimal restraint. Kia clearly wanted bold. They wanted futuristic. And whether you love it or hate it, it absolutely delivers on attention. From the sharp body creases to the aggressive rear spoiler, especially on trims like the X-Line or X Pro, the Sportage has this rugged, modern presence that refuses to blend in. Colors like jungle green or wolf gray make it stand out even more. And when you step up to the larger wheels and slightly lifted stance, it starts leaning into that off-road inspired look. It's the kind of SUV that announces itself in a parking lot. But that loudness is also its gamble. Because not everyone wants to make a statement every time they pull into the grocery store. I've had people look at the Sportage and say it's cool, and then immediately say it's too much, too weird, too busy. It's a design that demands you choose a side. The CX-5 takes the opposite approach. It doesn't try to shock you. It doesn't try to impress you in 5 seconds. Instead, it just sits there quietly confident. Mazda's design language isn't about sharp edges or oversized grills. It's about proportion and flow. The body looks sculpted, not stamped. The lines feel intentional, like they were refined instead of exaggerated. Up close, the details start to stand out. The slim headlights, the way the grille integrates instead of dominating, the way the tail lights wrap into the rear fenders instead of just being tacked on. And then there's the paint. Mazda's Soul Red Crystal still punches way above its weight. In sunlight, it looks deep and expensive in a way that makes people assume the car costs far more than it does. Panel gaps are tight. Shut lines are consistent. Everything feels deliberate. It's not flashy, but it ages well. You park these two side by side, and the question becomes simple. Do you want something that grabs attention right now, or something that still looks good 5 years from now? That difference becomes even clearer once you step inside. The CX-5 interior doesn't hit you with fireworks. Instead, it feels calm, almost restrained. But after a few minutes, you realize how intentional everything is. Soft touch materials are exactly where your hands naturally land. The dash has real stitching, and if you're in a higher trim, that Nappa leather doesn't just look good. It feels broken in from day one. What really stands out is how driver-focused the cabin feels. The controls are angled toward you. The buttons are tactile. Nothing feels buried or confusing. You don't need a tutorial just to adjust the temperature. It's the kind of interior that doesn't try to impress you with tricks, but quietly earns your appreciation over time. The seats are firm but supportive, not couch soft, but designed for real driving. You can do long trips without feeling wrecked afterward. Rear legroom isn't class-leading, and that's a fair criticism. Taller passengers might notice it, but for most people it's never been a deal-breaker. What matters more is that everything feels solid. It was assembled by people who actually care how it holds up. Then you step into the Sportage, and it feels like a different universe, especially in trims like the S Prestige. The dual 12.3-inch curved screens stretch across the dash and instantly command your attention. It looks futuristic, it looks expensive, it looks like something you'd expect in a vehicle costing much more. And for a lot of buyers, that's the hook. The cabin feels wide and open. There's noticeably more rear seat space. If you've got kids, passengers, or just haul people around often, the Sportage makes a strong case. The seats are softer and more cushioned, which some people prefer immediately. But the longer you sit with it, the more the cracks start to show. That touch-heavy control bar for climate and audio looks cool, but it's easy to hit the wrong thing without meaning to. Adjusting the fan speed shouldn't feel like a guessing game. It's one of those features that photographs great and sells cars on the lot. but gets old fast in daily use. Kia's material quality has improved a lot, no question. But when you start paying attention to the smaller things, the CX-5 still feels tighter. The knobs feel heavier. The switches feel more precise. It's subtle, but once you notice it, it's hard to unsee. Tech is where most people assume the Sportage runs away with it. And visually, it kind of does. That massive screen setup is crisp, modern, and undeniably impressive. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on most trims is a huge convenience, and buyers bring it up constantly for a reason. It just works. Mazda takes a very different stance. The CX-5 uses a fixed screen controlled by a rotary dial on the center console. Some people hate that idea immediately. They want to touch the screen, but once you actually use it, especially while driving, it starts to make sense. You're not reaching forward, you're not taking your eyes off the road. Your hand learns the controls quickly, and it becomes second nature. For 2025, Mazda finally added wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, which removes one of the biggest complaints people had. The system itself is fast, clean, and doesn't try to overwhelm you with menus. It does what you need, and then it gets out of the way. Sound quality tells a similar story. The CX-5's Bose system sounds more balanced and refined than the upgraded system in the Sportage. Not louder, just cleaner. Voice controls in both are fine, but neither feels groundbreaking. So yes, if your priority is screen size and visual wow factor, the Sportage wins. But if usability matters more than flash, the Mazda quietly pulls ahead. That difference becomes impossible to ignore once you start driving. Mazda gives you two engine choices. The base 2.5-liter four-cylinder isn't exciting, but it's smooth and predictable. It never feels strained in daily driving. But the turbo version is where things change completely. With up to 256 horsepower on premium fuel, the CX-5 suddenly feels alive. Torque comes on early. Passing feels effortless. Merging doesn't require planning. It's not just fast in a straight line. It's responsive. The power delivery feels natural, not artificial. You press the pedal, and the car responds the way you expect it to. The Sportage's standard 2.5-liter engine is fine. It does the job. But it doesn't encourage you to push it. Acceleration is relaxed. Throttle response is muted unless you really dig in. The hybrid version adds more punch thanks to the electric assist, and around town it feels quicker. But there's still a disconnect. That typical CVT-style behavior shows up when you get on it. The engine noise rises, but the sensation doesn't match. Transmission choice matters more than people realize. Mazda sticks with a 6-speed automatic. And while that might sound outdated on paper, it works beautifully. Shifts are timely. There's no hunting, no confusion. It feels tuned, not overthought. The Sportage's 8-speed is smoother than older versions, but it still tends to upshift early, especially in eco modes. Throttle response feels filtered. It's designed for efficiency, not engagement. Steering is where the CX-5 really separates itself. There's actual weight to it. You feel the road. The car responds immediately without feeling twitchy. Through curves or even quick lane changes, it feels composed and confident. It wants to be driven. The Sportage prioritizes comfort. It soaks up bumps well. It's quiet, but the steering is light and vague. There's noticeable body roll when pushed. It does exactly what most buyers want, but nothing more. It's transportation, not interaction. Fuel economy is where the Sportage fires back hard. The hybrid is genuinely impressive. Real-world numbers in the high 30s to low 40s aren't uncommon. If you commute a lot or care deeply about fuel costs, it's hard to ignore. The CX-5 doesn't compete there. The base engine is decent. The turbo is thirstier. That's the trade-off. You give up some efficiency for engagement, and that's a decision every buyer has to make for themselves. So which one wins? If you want space, screens, tech, and efficiency, the Sportage makes a strong argument. It's comfortable, it's modern, it's logical. But if you actually enjoy driving, the CX-5 hits differently. Everything works together. The steering, the transmission, the chassis. It feels cohesive, thoughtful. It was designed by people who care about how it feels at 7 a.m. on a random Tuesday, not just how it looks in a showroom. And that's the thing specs can't tell you. Sometimes the better car isn't the one that looks better on paper. It's the one that still makes you smile long after the screen stopped feeling new. And once you notice that difference, it's hard to unfeel it.